April 7th, 2026. The price of oil jumps to $138 a barrel. In a single day. Not because demand exploded, not because a refinery burned down, because a narrow piece of water between Iran and Oman, called the Strait of Hormuz, got blocked. That's it. One strait, 21 miles wide at its narrowest point. And every economy on Earth started shaking. Your gas bill went up. Your groceries went up. Your country's currency wobbled. And most people had no idea why. Here's the truth nobody tells you. Oil doesn't just power cars. Oil decides who rules the world. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how. Let's start with something boring. That's actually terrifying. The world uses 108 million barrels of oil every single day. That's enough to fill 6,800 Olympic swimming pools daily. Stop the flow for 1 week, and grocery stores empty, airplanes ground, ambulances stop running, and your country's economy starts dying. But here's the thing most people miss. Oil doesn't just fuel things. Oil is inside things. The phone in your hand, plastic from oil. Your clothes, synthetic fibers from oil. The medicine in your cabinet, chemical compounds from oil. The fertilizer that grew your dinner, oil. The asphalt under your tires, oil. Even the solar panel on someone's roof, its plastic frame, its production process, the diesel truck that delivered it, all oil. This is why oil is different from every other commodity on Earth. You can live without gold. You can live without diamonds. You cannot live without oil. Not yet. And whoever controls the tap controls everyone who drinks from it. So who has it? 3 countries produce most of the world's oil. The United States, about 22 million barrels a day. Saudi Arabia, around 11 million. Russia, close to 10 million. Together, they pump out roughly 40% of everything the world burns. Then there's OPEC. Sounds like a boring acronym, right? It's not. OPEC is a club of 13 countries, mostly in the Middle East and Africa, that decided in 1960 they were tired of being pushed around by Western oil companies. So they teamed up. Today, OPEC controls 38% of the world's oil production and roughly 80% of the world's known reserves. Let me say that again. 80% of all known oil on Earth sits under the feet of 13 countries. Saudi Arabia alone has more oil reserves than the entire United States. When OPEC meets, every government on Earth watches. Markets move, currencies shake, and politicians start making phone calls. Here's the kicker. OPEC doesn't sell to the world. They set the price for the world. Pump less. Prices rocket. Pump more. Prices crash. Every gas station owner, every airline, every shipping company, every farmer, they all live or die by what 13 men decide, in a conference room in Vienna. Now we get to the part that explains everything. Rewind to 1973. America just dumped the gold standard. Their dollar is sliding. Oil prices quadruple in months. Inflation is eating wages alive. The dollar is in trouble. So Henry Kissinger flies to Saudi Arabia and makes a deal. Not on paper, not signed, just understood. Here's what it was. Saudi Arabia agrees to sell all its oil, only in US dollars. In exchange, America protects the Saudi royal family. Tanks, jets, soldiers, intelligence, whatever they need. It sounds small. It changed the world. Think about it. If Japan wants oil, it needs dollars. If Germany wants oil, it needs dollars. If India, Brazil, South Korea, anyone, they all need dollars. So every country on Earth starts hoarding US dollars just to keep their economies running. That's why the dollar became the world's reserve currency. Not because America was strongest, because America made oil priced in its money. This system is called the petrodollar, and it's the reason America could print trillions of dollars for 50 years, without their currency collapsing. Every dollar printed had a buyer. Somewhere on Earth, a country needed it to buy oil. Today, roughly 80% of global oil transactions are still in dollars. That single fact is why America still rules. But in 2024, something cracked. Saudi Arabia quietly let their formal petrodollar deal expire. They started selling oil to China in Chinese yuan. Russia started selling to India in rubles. The UAE began pricing gas in yuan. The dollar empire is starting to leak. And the war that broke out in Iran in February 2026, it's not really about Iran. It's about who gets to sell oil, in whose currency. Let's talk about something uncomfortable. Look at every major war America fought in the last 50 years. Iraq, 1991. Kuwait's oil. Iraq, 2003. Saddam started selling oil in euros. Then he was gone within months. Libya, 2011. Gaddafi was about to launch a gold-backed African currency to replace the dollar for oil. He's dead now. I'm not saying every war is about oil, but I am saying every map of military bases overlaps with a map of oil supply. The Strait of Hormuz is the perfect example. 21 miles wide. Iran on one side, Oman on the other. 20% of the world's oil shipments pass through it, every single day. In February 2026, Iran shut it down. Within 6 weeks, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, the UAE, Qatar, and Bahrain had collectively shut in 10.5 million barrels per day of production. That's 10% of the world's oil, gone in 2 months. Brent crude shot from $66 to $138 in weeks. Gas prices doubled in Europe. Inflation in poor countries hit double digits overnight. Bread riots started in 3 African capitals. And here's the part nobody on the news mentions. None of those countries chose this. They didn't pick a side in the Iran-US war. They just had the bad luck of needing oil to live, and someone else was fighting over who gets to sell it. That's how oil works. You don't have to participate to suffer. But what about renewables? Solar, wind, electric cars? Aren't we leaving oil behind? Slowly, very slowly, and not the way you think. Yes, electric cars are growing. Yes, solar capacity is doubling every few years. But here's the math nobody puts on YouTube thumbnails. In 2026, the world will use more oil than in 2025. Not less. More. About 108.6 million barrels a day, up from 106. Why? Because most of the world isn't America or Europe. It's India, Indonesia, Nigeria, Vietnam, Bangladesh. Countries with rising middle classes that want cars, plastic, fertilizer, plane tickets. The renewable transition is happening in 30 rich countries. The other 160 are pumping more oil than ever. And petrochemicals, the plastic, fertilizer, fabric, medicine side of oil, are now more than half of demand growth. You can replace gasoline. You can't easily replace the plastic in a hospital IV bag. So when politicians say we'll be off oil by 2050, they mean we, the rich 20% of the world. The other 80%? They'll be buying every barrel we don't. Oil isn't dying. It's just changing who buys it. So why does any of this matter? For you sitting at home? Because every time something happens with oil, your life gets quietly more expensive. When Brent hit $138 in April 2026, the average American household paid roughly $300 more per month for fuel, food, and shipping costs. In Europe, it was closer to €450. In emerging markets, it was the difference between dinner and no dinner. Your savings account paying 4% interest? Inflation from oil shocks eats 6% a year. You're losing money, standing still. Your stocks? Energy is roughly 4% of the S&P 500. But oil shocks affect every other sector. Airlines crash. Retailers crash. Transport crashes. Only oil companies and defense contractors win. Your country's currency? If your country imports oil, every spike weakens your money. If your country exports oil, every crash destroys your government's budget. Oil is the invisible tax on your life. You never voted for it. You can't escape it. And the people who own it can change the price tomorrow. Here's what I want you to remember. Oil isn't a commodity. Oil is leverage. Whoever has it makes the rules. Whoever needs it follows them. The 21-mile-wide strait between Iran and Oman moves more economic power in a single day than every stock exchange combined. The 13 countries in OPEC have more influence over global inflation than every central bank in the world. And the 1974 Handshake between America and Saudi Arabia built an empire that's still standing today, but is starting to crack. The next decade isn't a fight about climate change. It's a fight about who controls the last barrel and what currency it's sold in. If you want to understand the world, follow the oil. It explains every war, every election, every recession, every inflation spike you'll ever live through. Hit subscribe. Next time, I'm breaking down the country that's quietly buying up more oil than anyone else. And it's not who you think.